Hi, Governor. Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to welcome you to our program. Thanks for making the time.
Great to be with you.
I'm coming to you today from Banff, Alberta, not too far from where we were yesterday. The President and the Prime Minister had a bilateral meeting lasting about 40 minutes. At the conclusion, the Canadian side released sort of a press release or a statement saying that their aim was, collectively, they had agreed to reach a deal on trade between our two countries in the next 30 days. What are your thoughts on the possibility of that and what it might mean to your state?
Well, it's very important that a deal be reached. I mean, I can tell you, coming from the state of Massachusetts, but speaking really on behalf of the Northeast region of the United States, the relationship between Canada and the United States is just so deep. And we in Massachusetts and across this region so appreciate it, and we have for decades, centuries, the trade relationship, the cultural relationship, the familial relationship. I mean, 1 in 5 New Englanders have French-Canadian origins, if just to put a point on it. And you know what we've seen in frankly President Trump's doing has been to totally disrupt those relationships, those familiar relationships, cultural relationships, economic relationships. It's a mess that the President of the United States has created, and we need to have that fixed. We need to have things made right. We need to have a normalcy when it comes to economic engagement, because we're hurting for it. Our states are hurting for it. And I know that the Canadian provinces are hurting for it as well. So we need to have a deal, and I hope that one is reached soon.
Can you expand on the disruption part of what you mentioned there and the impact that you have seen thus far on your state? Can you quantify what that disruption has meant for people who live there?
Absolutely. I mean, already because of what has happened, we're seeing real drops in tourism. New England states have seen drops in tourism between 20 and 60% from Canadian visitors. I know that flights into and out of Logan Airport here in Boston to and from Canada are down considerably from last month. And so that obviously has a huge economic hit to our region. We've seen the impact of tariffs. They've totally disrupted supply chains. They've increased the costs of goods. That's not good. I'm a governor focused on building more housing in Massachusetts, and with tariffs, the cost of soft wood, soft lumber has gone up, and that's not helpful to my goal of building more housing. And then I think about energy. The estimated impact of tariffs alone is about $2.5 billion, $2.5 billion US dollars. That's the additional cost that these tariffs are going to be on energy costs for people in our area. So, yeah, this is just bad all around. And those are just some of the many anecdotes and figures that we've been hearing about. And I can tell you, it's across all of our states.
Right. And I actually want to pick up on that point, because I know that you and some of your counterparts in other states spent the past few days meeting with Canadian premiers. Our Prime Minister has said the relationship as we knew it, from an economic interdependence viewpoint with the United States, is over. Do you think if a deal is arrived at, that, you know, things could go back to what they used to be?
I think they can, and I think they must. They should. But I appreciate what the Prime Minister is saying, because unfortunately, you know, President Trump took action that has been harmful to American residents, harmful to American businesses, and obviously also harmful to the relationship between Canada and the United States. But one thing that I did in the face of all that, in the midst of all of it, was to say, hey, wait a second. We have Massachusetts and other states, we have such long-standing ties. So I arranged the other day for New England governors and the governor of New York to come to Boston, along with Canadian premiers, to talk about the things that we could do together on trade, on tourism, on energy, and to affirm and reaffirm our genuine commitment to the great people of Canada and our desire to see things normalized. This is not right, what has happened. And, you know, as a governor of Massachusetts and as a representative of the United States, I want to be clear with the people of Canada that there's nothing more than most all of our residents want than to see the normalcy of relationships restored. Canada is our #1 trading partner, has been a key ally and friend, more than anything, friend for so long to our states. And those are ties that, while frayed and tested, and they have been, need to be restored, need to be shored up. And that's why I took that action as governor. And I was just so happy to be able to host the premiers and have the conversation about what is in everyone's mutual interest. And my only hope is that I'm sorry that President Trump had to leave the G7. I hope that they can quickly get to work on finalizing and working towards a deal that restores the important relationship that exists between the United States and Canada. But I also understood, listening to the premiers, how real the anger is, the resentment, the fear, the feeling of betrayal on the part of Canadians towards the United States government, and in particular Donald Trump, for what has happened. And our message is from here to say we want to continue those relationships. Canadian-U.S. friendship means a great deal to all of us, important trade relationship, important economic relationship, and that's something that we want to see restored. And I hope that Canadians still come to Massachusetts and visit this part of New England.
Do you ultimately, Governor, think that the president will be, I guess, moved off of the approach he's taken, particularly with respect to tariffs? He kind of stated at the outset that the idea was to use them as almost like a blunt force instrument to force other countries into making deals. And to be fair to him, that appears to be, particularly where I am right now, what's happening. There are lots of countries, including mine, who are lining up to make new trade arrangements with the United States. Given that, do you think there's anything that will ultimately actually force him off that approach?
Well, he has to do something because our economy is suffering for it. Our businesses are suffering. Our residents are suffering. And, we're paying more for just about everything as a result of his tariffs. So, if he's listening to people and the American people, if he's listening to business, then he will come off of that and change course. And, it is my hope that he does listen and that a deal is reached, an agreement is reached with Canada and with others out there, because this is killing our economy. We don't need this in America right now. And residents are paying for it, Americans are paying for it, and frankly, our businesses are paying for it.
Okay, I'm going to leave it on that note. Governor, thank you so much for making the time for the conversation. I appreciate it.
Sure. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.